seating arrangement.
Yeah, we weren't looking at each other last time, really. I guess I don't know, like.
Okay, that's kind of true. Okay, but this is like kind of how mediations.
Yeah.
Okay, so. Okay. Thank you for coming in, Dale and Mr. Gobayashi. We just wanted to take a moment out of this mediation before it begins to kind of go over what's going to happen. And so first, I just want to go ahead and mention that everything that is said here today is going to be confidential. None of this information can be used anywhere else outside of this mediation for any purpose. If it is, the mediation becomes void, as does the contract we will be deciding upon later.
And I want the both of you to feel comfortable and letting out how you feel and being honest about the situation. Yeah, just be honest. Mr. Gobayashi, do you want to begin telling us what is exactly happening from your perspective?
Well, from my perspective, what happened is Mr. Dale over here has been very disrespectful to my father. And I am not appreciative of how he's been treating my family, my property, and my father. Just to let you know, some of the things that he's done has led to very much destruction in my backyard. He has destroyed my grass, taken my fish, and killed them. In fact, he has almost taken my father's mine and destroyed that too, because that's all he finds serenity in our backyard. That's all the man lives for. 86 years old, no wife, children are moved out, and he's doing this to my father?
You have to buy this?
So we're going to have to ask you just to please refrain from comments until we've heard Mr. Gobayashi's perspective. Okay.
That's another play on disrespect too. He disrespects my family, disrespects me. This has not happened on one occasion. He's done it multiple times, even now in a mediation scene.
So can I ask you, what about that makes you feel disrespected?
That he disrespect me? What makes me feel disrespected?
Yes.
If someone talked to you in a way that make you feel very lowly, because I was born here in the United States. My dad may not be as fluent in English as I am.
Doesn't speak any.
Sorry.
Of course. You come from Asia. Of course he's not going to speak English. But it's not about him.
In America now.
It's about where we are now.
Exactly, so you should learn English.
I know English.
Well, your father should know English.
Okay.
And he doesn't bother you, so what's the big deal?
Oh, he does bother me though.
Oh, what does he do?
He's over here bringing up all this stuff about me vandalizing his yard, and he's videotaping me while I'm in the bathroom. That's disrespect in itself.
Videotape? Where's your proof? My father comes out there to spend time with his ex-wife, dead wife. That's what he does. Did you know that?
She's dead. How's he spending time with her?
That's the thing with culture nowadays.
Okay.
You don't think about that.
So before we continue, I mean, it seems like there is a lot of misunderstanding going on here.
You could call it that.
So what we want to do is we're going to just go ahead and help foster more effective communication between you guys. So just take a breath, relax.
And it's good to understand that Dale, Mr. Gobayashi, is a different culture than where you come from, and it would be better if we come up with a moral understanding and and maybe maybe trying to figure out putting yourself in his shoes. He did have a garden, he did have fish.
I had things too, though.
Well, the thing is, I just want you to learn, okay? Look, listen. You have a culture, it's called the American culture. I have partaken in that, so I think I know just as much as you do. I also have my father's side of culture. I don't plan on having you learn what he knows or what he has learned through all of his life, but I plan on you learning just to be a little more respectful
Well, I feel like
and leaving it alone, okay?
you guys should learn the same respect. Because there's no reason why I should be getting spied on in my bathroom and having
How are you spying on you?
police come to my house and bothering me and arresting me off of some assumptions that you guys have of what I'm doing in the privacy of my own home.
Do you?
I don't know what he's
Kobayashi,
talking about.
Oh,
you
now you don't
feel-
know what I'm talking about. I had to knock down the cameras that were looking all in my
I'm
house.
Dale,
thinking,
let's
let me
go ahead
talk for
and bring
just
it down for
a
just a
second.
moment.
Mr. Kobayashi, do you feel the need, why do you feel the need that you need to have a camera watching Mr. Smith?
We don't have any cameras watching Mr. Smith.
Okay,
I knocked it
Did
down.
Mr.
you at
Smith.
any point?
We have a camera in the backyard to occasionally watch the koi fish that are not there anymore. But we would have them watch the koi fish just to videotape. My father used to be really good at just messing around with camera. He's not so much of a person to take photos. He loves using videotape. And a lot of what he did when his wife was around would be to videotape them or where they go, their life practically.
Surveillance.
Is it surveillance if it's your own life?
he
Oh,
just,
what you
I
want?
believe that Mr. Smith feels uncomfortable that the camera is facing towards his window. Do you think about maybe taking that or anything that looks like a camera down in order for him to
Oh, I handled
feel-
that already. I knocked the camera down. There's no more.
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
Damn right.
Should
I
be
did.
arrested because of
Do
it.
you find any
Okay.
problem with knocking someone else's
Well, I
your
find it a
neighbor's camera
problem
down?
having my
Since
privacy invaded, so I took it upon myself to handle that
Oh.
situation.
That's an eye for an eye.
I guess.
You ever heard the other part of that saying? An eye for an eye, make the world blind.
If we're blind then.
Oh, you blind. So I don't have anything else in my backyard as a camera. Not that I can think of at the very moment. Our camera is facing towards the pond. It's even facing downwards in an angle. And it doesn't make sense to me because if the pond is here and the camera is here and it's facing towards the pond, what right does he have to knock my camera down when he's over here?
Okay, so you feel a little violated. I can understand that.
Excuse me. Yeah. Should the camera be put back up at any point? Would it be within your ability to either reposition it away from Dale's window?
The camera's broken.
Again, I said should it be reinstalled at any point to avoid further conflict on the ground of invasion of privacy? Would it be within your ability to either reposition the camera?
I don't feel quite safe doing that. In the sense of if it was there before, what's gonna stop this man from doing it again?
So now I'm going to ask Mr. Dale what his problem with the camera was.
I think it's pretty clear what the
No,
problem with the camera was.
Let's go ahead and give him a chance.
As
to
long as
answer
it's
the
not
question.
looking in my house, I'm fine. You know exactly how you had it pointed, and just don't put it that way again, so we won't have any problems.
See, I don't quite agree with that. I don't know how you guys are seeing that as his perspective, but the thing is, it already in the first place was not facing towards him or his house. It was facing towards the pond, which his house is on the backside of. So him to say that is completely ludicrous.
Honestly, your father didn't really, the Asian eyes and everything. Like, he probably didn't see how it was positioned very well. It was
Asian-
definitely looking at my house.
Okay.
My father is a
Sir,
professional photographer,
Mr. Kobayashi.
videographer.
Mr. Kobayashi, Dale, we're going to go ahead and try to refrain from any sort of comments that are negatory and aren't going to help resolute this situation.
We need to focus on resoluting it instead of throwing insults to each other.
I do understand that you're trying to say that the camera was not positioned as Mr. Kobayashi says it was, or that it was also intruding upon your privacy. That's more or less what he's trying to say. Yes.
Yeah, I guess.
I don't believe it. My father would not make an amateur mistake like that.
You have your father mistaken. And that also goes to show, like, he doesn't really care about anything else besides him and his father, to be honest. And I feel like he doesn't take responsibility for anything that his father does just because of his age. He kind of just blames it on me. Like the whole roundup thing, like I go around my yard killing a couple weeds, and now all of a sudden he's blaming me because him and his father don't know how to garden and all his fruit trees die. Like, what did I have to do with that if I'm spraying Roundup in my yard? That's nothing. No correlation.
My front yard is fruitful
Come
in
on.
all of its greatness. My backyard was fruitful.
Let's
So
say,
I don't know how he's gonna say that we do not know how to garden, when apparently we do. It's just somewhere close to you, things start to go bad. And I lived my whole life caring for people.
Oh, I do.
So I don't know how you're gonna go ahead and make that assumption that I just care about me and my father. You don't know me.
You don't know me either.
And that's why I leave you alone.
Obviously not, because you had to bring your DA in here. Now I'm sitting in here in mediation, trying not to get my ass thrown in jail because you think that I killed some of your fish that never existed in a couple fruit trees.
That wouldn't even get you put in jail.
Oh,
That would get you fined.
but it will get me thrown in jail because I don't have the money to be paying for all
one
this
second.
shit.
Mr. Goyashi, what do you think? Do you think that we can, Mr. Smith can get you a new garden and a new fish? How do you feel about that?
I'm not paying for that shit.
Well, Mr. Smith, let's Mr. Kobayashi speak.
I just want him to get it to the way it was. I know it never will be the way it was, but to at least try to get it to the way it was. And then leave us alone.
Okay. Well, but
And I've been thinking maybe a good way to do that would be to get something in between us. Because apparently, if it's anywhere near you, you don't like it. So maybe we should have a little more barriers. The fence isn't working, maybe we need to get remodeled. Because you can poke your broom or something through it. I don't know what it is, but you must be doing something so you can just reach the camera. No one can do that with just a hand. I do know our fence has holes, maybe that'll help.
Okay. So what you're trying to say is that you do not want to see anything, but how about maybe not having, maybe being more neutral with your neighbor? How about that? If he is able to pay for some portion of any damages done. Is there anything like that that Mr. Smith can do?
Someone comes in here and they break your laptop. Do you want them to pay some portion of your next one, or do you want them to pay you back in full?
Okay, but let's talk about the situation with the garden. So let's go back to that of what exactly happened, Mr. Smith.
I mean, I was just minding my own business. I've already had a bunch of shit going on in my life that's just been going to shit that I've been dealing with. And then Mr. Yashimoto or Gobiyashi comes in with all these assumptions saying that I'm dealing drugs and killing his plants and knocking down cameras, which I did. Is just throwing dirt on my reputation that's already been blemished. And I don't have money
If
or
you're so worried
time
about
to
your
deal with all of
reputation,
this
why
shit.
don't you not do those things? How
Why
hard
don't
is it
you-
to refrain yourself?
Well, I'm just defending myself to an extent.
Okay, so
If you're
let's-
On
bringing
my
a-
property?
You're bringing a DA in for something that I justified. I justified my actions.
What are
Then
you
you're-
doing on the side?
let's
Because
take
no one
turns
needs this kind of
speaking.
security.
Mr.
If you're not doing
Let's
something
speak
bad.
over each other.
We're gonna need
We're
you
not
guys
gonna
to lower
speak
your
over
voices.
each
We're
other.
going to remain calm, and we're going to
Let's
finish
be
the duration of
relevant.
this.
Let's be relevant here. Was it your intention to kill his garden and his fish?
I never killed his fish. I don't even think he ever had a fish, to be honest. I feel like that was all made up. And his garden, I sprayed a little Roundup weed killer to take care of the weeds in my garden. Maybe a little got on his side, but there's no way it's killing all the plants in his yard. There's no way.
So what he was trying to do is just put some kill weed stuff on his garden. And it wasn't never his intention to have it affect your garden or your fish. And he just didn't see your fish.
I mean, it seems like you guys are kind of not. You're not really understanding. It's your fault. It seems like there are some misunderstandings you guys are having in regards to not only the camera but the killing of the bushes and the koi fish.
I think if you're going to do anything that might involve the destruction of my property, I'm going to draw this back to respect. You need to let your neighbors know.
Respect. If you want to talk about respect, how about the time that I actually went over to your house and tried to apologize and you guys just slammed the door in my face?
Okay, what
How
did
about
you-
that?
Yelling doesn't count as apologies.
Oh, well, of course I'm going to have my voice raised if you're sending police over and bringing DAs and the court into this, but I still tried to do my part to settle
His
this
story
dispute,
is not consistent.
and now I'm here.
He says he wants to apologize, but then he tries to justify his yelling by saying he's mad because of police. Who goes to someone and apologizes in a very angry form? I don't hear
It's
anybody
the
come back and
gesture,
say,
in a sense. How do you not expect me to be upset if I'm getting sued out the ass? I already lost my wife and kids. I have no job, and you expect me to come over here with a smile on my face and just apologize and act like everything's okay, and you're already bringing me into this that's gonna cost me another like $500 that I don't have? You want me to smile? Is that what you want? You want respect and a smile on my face through all of that? This a joke?
what I want is for my father to be happy. I am sorry for everything that has happened to you and your family. Stop it, guys. Stop it. I am sorry for everything that's happened to you and your family. But taking it out on different people is not going to help you. I've been through trouble. I've seen people die. I've seen a lot of families come in, be sad about it.
I'm so sorry.
I've seen people die. I've seen a lot of families come in, a lot of families just like you, in that sense, that have had their loved ones.
You've seen families have their ex-wives come and take custody of their kids and the guy lose his job? while getting letters sent from the DA talking about you have to go to mediation?
I apologize. I thought you meant they died. Apparently, it's not as bad then.
Oh, that's not as bad. It's not as bad that your wife left you and took the kids.
Mr.
That's not as
Kobayashi, let's
bad.
go ahead and try to refrain from making personal attacks. We are not here to attack one another, but we're rather here to try to attack the matter that's at hand. So please go ahead and direct your guys' effort into that rather than at one another.
I just feel like he doesn't truly understand what the severity of the situation is. To him, it's just, oh, him and his father and my precious fish and video camera got knocked down. For me, this is my life.
My father is an 86-year-old man. Keep that in mind.
The fuck does that make a difference?
Okay.
It makes a difference because the littlest of things can send him to insanity.
I mean,
You're talking about struggles that you can deal with, you can still think about. The man is borderline.
Okay.
he's about to die anyways.
Okay, you guys, we're getting off topic, and again, you guys are making personal attacks. If this is going to keeping an issue, we can go ahead and take a break, and we can each mediator take one of you guys and have a personal convening with you, and then
I
we
can
can
talk to you outside.
and I can
he
speak to you.
speak to you outside. Do you guys want to continue this, or do you guys want to step outside?
Doesn't matter to me.
I can't even look at him right now. Let's take our break.
Okay. Mr. Kobayashi, I want you to take a second to think about what you said to Dale and what Dale said to you. I want you to be more rational on this. I need you to just focus on resolving. I don't want you to be rational and think about and be uptight with your options. I understand that you are very hurt by this, is what it seems like to me.
I'm extremely hurt. You know, I spend my entire life. I am a doctor. You do know this. I already let you know this earlier. Apparently, you know, that doesn't go noticed in the culture we're in right now, and people just, instead of actually asking you about what you do and stuff like that, like I do when I'm with my friends, it doesn't happen. Not at least not here. And so for him to make an assumption that I'm not helping anyone, it destroys me on the inside. But the point is, I don't think a person with that kind of mentality is going to end up showing my father any respect. And if my father can't get any respect and his property can't get left alone, how is he going to find peace of mind?
Can you describe to me what respect is to you?
Just leaving us alone. That's all it is.
Okay.
If you break something, you pay for it. Just try not to do it again. And I'm not saying to try, because a lot of times people don't even try. I'm saying to just do. Just leave us alone. But I don't think he understands that.
Okay. So what we're going to do now is try to get Mr. Smith's view on this, and let's see if he's able to leave you alone and not mention anything about the camera or about anything. Let's move forward, is what I'm trying to tell you. We can think about what he did in the past, but not let it affect us. Let's try to keep that in the past, is what we're trying to do here. So do you want to agree to move forward with this? Because I understand that fishes, those are the same fishes. We can't get those same koi fishes back, or the shrubs.
That's okay. For me, koi fish or crowfish, my father knows fish die. It's just the idea of having them that matters.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Wouldn't, I mean, if Smith can apologize to you, would that mean something? genuinely apologize?
An apology is something I would really just love to have, though it is not what I want. That would be something that would probably be on the side, and something that would be really appreciated. But moreover, I just want my stuff restored, and I want to be left alone. Not me, but my father and his property.
Okay, just know at this very moment, you don't feel ready to speak with him or to even move forward right now, but think about now that in the future you will feel better about the situation. It won't affect you as much and you will eventually get over it, as they say, but I think now it would be a good time to consider moving forward and not even having to be best friends. Just know it's your neighbor and you guys have a
Yes.
level of respect for each other, which would be very
Yes.
beneficial.
Which is where it should have been.
Okay,
Yes. Okay.
ready?
Good.
Okay.
Dale, what are you doing, man? Like, I understand you're having problems communicating with Mr. Gobayashi, but you don't want to have to go to court. You don't want to have to go to jail as a result of this mediation. So I need you to get it together, get your thoughts together, and we need to stop thinking about everything that's happened already, because again, that's already happened, right? And we're trying to look at ways out of getting you into the court or into jail.
Getting me into court or into jail. I'm trying to get out of court or out of jail.
That's what I'm saying. We're not trying to do that.
Alright. I'm not trying to do that either, but I mean, like,
Good. I'm glad we're on the same page.
we are, but
Yeah.
I don't think he is.
He, as a person, Mr. Gobayashi is worried about his problem right now.
Uh-huh.
So let's just go ahead and focus on your problem, not his, not anything doing with Mr. Gobayashi, because that's not going to help us move on.
Yeah.
Think about prioritizing how you want this to happen, and in order for us to be able to move forward and hopefully have that not be the end game, we need to have you stop making personal attacks or bringing culture into it, or doing anything that is going to take away from us moving forward. Making those sorts of attacks is only going to keep pulling it back. That's not what you want.
Sorry, it's just really in the moment.
Well, it happens. I understand it happens. I understand it happens when you're emotional,
Yeah.
when there's a lot riding on the line.
There is.
You've also been going through a lot of stuff. I understand that.
I have.
So I understand the amount you have invested in this mediation, which is why why I'm trying to be so forward with you to help you get what you want out of this and prevent you from having to go down something that could be avoidable.
And so it's not all on me then. That's
No,
also.
it's not. But
yeah.
but also know that Mr. Gobayashi also has his own meeting that he's having right now.
Alright.
So we as mediators are trying to bring you guys to the same point, so we can get you guys to both attempt to move forward and agree, rather than focusing on everything that's been happening. So when we reconvene the meeting, we're not going to talk about any of the attacks that have been made. We're not going to keep dropping any sort of words that are offensive or towards culture, religion, race, whatever, any of that. And we're just going to be productive and have efficient conversation.
I'll try.
That's all that we ask.
Alright, everything is confidential, right?
Correct, everything.
Alright, because I mean, like, just like person to person, like, one of the reasons why I did knock down those cameras because I really am selling drugs. Like, I lost everything, so it's just like, if he really is like looking all up in my stuff, like, this is my only means of money right now. This I'm about to pay for my attorney, like, tax free, like.
Well, I understand you need.
And if he's impeding on my business, then it's bad, like.
Mr. Smith, I understand your need for privacy, all things considered, but for the sake of your own continued protection, as far as the evidence code goes, if brought into a criminal case, that is some information that I will be asked to divulge.
So you're gonna snitch on me now?
No, sir, I'm saying that my restrictions on confidentiality only go as far as civil cases. So anything about your criminal life or your criminal past, you should not confide in me for the purpose of this mediation. So let's go ahead.
Tell me that before I told you that I sold drugs.
Well, I didn't expect to hear that. I apologize. But what we can do is we can attempt to get this filed as a civil case by resolving this mediation, so that's not even a part of your criminal record and a part of this mediation any longer. So are you ready and prepared to go ahead and go back and speak with Mr. Goyashi?
Yeah.
Okay.
But if you ever need anything, you know what I mean.
Oh God, stop.
Now that we've had a chance to go ahead and talk to you guys independently, we're going to go ahead and get the meeting back and going again to hopefully help and figure something out between the two of you, or find something that works for the both of you. And we're going to go ahead and keep things level-headed and progressive from this point on. Okay. What is it that you would like from this sort of situation, Mr. Kobayashi? What is your ideal outcome?
Before I go into the ideal outcome, I just want to go ahead and be a man here, and I want to say I am sorry for anything me or my father has done to upset you. And if anything were to happen like that again, please feel free just to let us know that it makes you feel uncomfortable, and we'll see what we can do. As for an ideal setting or ideal outcome, all I want is to just be left alone, have my stuff replaced, and just maybe an apology would be nice.
I mean, I don't mind throwing a couple bucks your way to have the landscapers come through and fix that up, but yeah, I mean, I'm fine as long as you guys leave me alone. No more of the invasion of privacy and whatnot. If we can just...
Okay, so what he's trying to say is just respecting each other's space.
Respect, again, has been your guys' core issue from the start. So let's go ahead and begin respecting Mr. Kobayashi's property, in its entirety. Even if the camera is pointed at you, that is when you can, communicate with him and say, can you, please move it, I feel uncomfortable. Or maybe get an explanation from him, Mr. Kobayashi. He's just asking that you understand that some things like the camera, while they may seem to not visually bother you, can potentially, make him feel uncomfortable. No one wants to be uncomfortable in their house.
Right. There are people that are camera shy, it's understood.
Okay, so Dale, you're willing to help rebuild the fence, or not the fence, the koi pond.
Oh, no, I'm not paying for any fish, but I mean, I'll do the landscaping thing.
Okay.
That's fine. I can replace fish. Fish, replace it.
Is there anything else either one of you guys would like to say before we go ahead and conclude this meeting and go ahead and sign up a document for you guys?
Good.
I don't want to tell him this.
I mean, he's here.
To have to tell him is something different. It's more of, in my culture, I want for it to be similar in the sense of, if you do something wrong, you must apologize for it.
Okay.
find it in your soul to maybe
Yeah.
to genuinely apologize?
I mean, I tried to apologize. I mean, I'm sorry for knocking down your video camera, but honestly, that's about it. That's my only wrongdoing in my side.
We understand you tried, but that's in the past. Presently, we're here today, and we can both agree to to make an apology to Mr. Goyashi.
Sorry for knocking down the video camera. And spraying Roundup on my yard.
It's a start.
It is a start, you're right.
That's good that you guys have gone from completely non-conversational to it's a start today. And move forward, so shake hands and we'll be done.
Thank you so much for being here today. Okay?
God damn, that's on that part.
Okay, part 1. Debrief. Okay, let's do it.
Alright, so how prepared were we when it came to reading? How the party could have benefited from being better studied, and how we could have portrayed their characters, the characters' emotions, interests and whatnot more.
Okay, so I think it was really interesting that that I didn't read Dale's part. Was it Dale's?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not read Dale's part. So when it came to readiness for my character, I felt like I knew exactly what was here, and it was just about utilizing that information or not utilizing the information. I chose to left some stuff out, but I think I knew it really well. So it was good. You guys?
I mean, you guys are clacking over there. I don't know, I thought I was able to see, Bernard really only focused on his part too, so it kind of showed, you guys, really knew,
Our stories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't go, but you tried to say that I didn't got it in your fucking eyes, that's not something you said, so, yeah, but it was pretty good.
Yeah, I think there was a little bit of confusion for a second when maybe you pointed out some of the plants that died, or the camera,
Yeah.
and you weren't supposed to know one of
Yeah.
those things, but then you mentioned it, and then I got confused and I wanted to ask about it, but then
Or was it with him with the broom?
The broom.
Because he brought up the broom.
So
and he was like,
No, I know I made that mistake of bringing up the broom. However, I was like, oh, I wasn't supposed to know that, so I used it as an example.
or whatever.
I was like, so yeah, you can poke a broom through there or whatever.
Playing it off.
I was like, oh shit.
because I wasn't supposed to have any idea anyways, but I just was confused whether you did break the camera.
He did.
I hadn't, yeah.
He did break
I
it.
wanted to ask if you could further explain that, but then I wasn't sure if that would be a good idea.
There's the one part where he was talking about, he was like, you're going to say I'm doing this and this and this, and I broke that camera, which I did. And then that's why I was like, oh, yep, he broke the camera.
Yep, he saw drugs, breaks the camera.
Yeah, that was, yeah.
And then when we begin, we're not really sure of what we should or shouldn't say, so I feel towards the middle and the end we understand what our parts are.
Yeah.
And
I feel like it gets a little more clear on
Yeah.
the roles that
Well,
everybody.
It would make sense though, wouldn't it? Because
Yeah.
we start off, all over the place,
Yeah.
and then as we work along, start narrowing down to what we actually want.
Yeah.
Alright, let's get to the next one. Part 2.
A couple of times when you guys portrayed the parties very well. I thought, well, obviously when we had our individual meeting, I thought the character was portrayed pretty well with her also, like, you kept pushing on your privacy, and then you kept pushing on, like, respect, he doesn't respect me, like, I was like, and then that's what I was like, what did I say, I was like, so, what is your, like, idea of respect, like, what do you mean when you say respect, like?
Yeah, so I thought this role playing was about, well, what's your idea of respect? And
Understanding was kind of like the second one I harped on.
Yeah.
yeah, I think I figured it out after the intervening. That helps a lot.
That one-on-one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one. So. Alright, so what about the beginning though? Like, what do you guys think about the beginning? Like, was it really, really, really like
I don't know.
that tough to?
Well, because you guys kept
At that point,
bouncing off
it
each
was
other.
it was still like really circular, like, and then only towards the end did it kind of like start to just become like linear conversation, like
Right.
this.
Alright.
Oh, good.
Alright.
One or two times where your guys' portrayal of the party seemed unrealistic and did not contribute to the scene with a sense of realism.
when we kept laughing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know that I saw too much of that in here today, like, except for there was that one part where it was kind of just like, you kind of like went off ramp a little bit, and I was like, alright, well that's irrelevant to the mediation, let's go ahead and like scale it back.
At what point? Okay.
That was still in the like the stage one when we were like getting everything out in the open. I don't know if it was a cultural comment made, but it was. I remember I like stopped the conversation at that point.
Okay. Alright.
That was 3.
That was
Yeah.
3. No,
Anything else?
parts would be unrealistic. I would have to watch the video again. It's tough for me.
Yeah.
It's really long.
Yeah, maybe. Honestly, it's only. I don't know if someone with his whole life on the line kind of would have like approached me about drugs on the one-on-one.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
I was like,
Yeah, I think that maybe what's his name? Dale's role wouldn't have been so open about talking about drugs. So that was a little unrealistic
Yeah.
when I kept hearing about it.
Part 4?
Yeah. Ways to improve their overall roleplay for the next roleplay. So first off, let me just start by saying I need to keep my marbles together and just like not break down so much laughing because
We all do.
no, but like the last mediation we really like got through it and there wasn't like any of that. So something about just like this one kind of really like set it off for me. And so yeah, I feel like I just need to like keep my composure really and kind of just know where I'm going and kind of like actively listen even more.
Alright, so
Yeah.
how would we do better? Let's see.
I think they need to improve, cause I try to, I don't know whether to be emotional or not emotional at all.
Yeah, like I feel like there's times where it's hard to because
Like,
it's
yeah,
just,
you're saying be empathetic. Like I was like, okay, like
yeah, but you don't
I
want to seem like you're
understand.
siding.
Yeah.
So you're just
Yeah.
like, where is the line? You know.
So this role play was kind of difficult
in that
With-
sense.
in the sense of, well, I don't want to side with him, I don't want to side with you, but I want to show sympathy or empathy.
you guys had like really big like emotional dispositions. Like your whole life was messed up, and then the koi fish went back to like your mom, and then
Yeah.
your dad's like 86 and alone. Like
Yeah.
I think one thing that did work out though was just the idea of like not reading your part. I think that added to what we knew and how we were to act because it came off a lot more realistic.
Yeah.
What was the other part of the question again?
Just ways to improve.
Oh, so I don't know, I think for next time too, I'm still gonna do that again.
Just read more stuff.
And next time I'm
I
just
think
gonna
that-
read the mediator's part. I feel like.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, that was a rule anyways, we shouldn't, that we're not supposed to read the
Parties.
other parties.
Alright, so follow the rules, okay.
Got that.
Follow the
Alright.
rules.
But yeah.
Comment on the general disposition of each mediator: nervous, relaxed, non-serious, uptight.
I felt like there were times where you could be a little more relaxed, but instead you tried to stay a little too serious. And then there were times where, of course,
Because I knew if I
We needed to
relaxed,
be
I was gonna die. I was like.
and there were times where we needed to be serious, but we just balled out laughing. So
Yeah.
yeah, and that's pretty much it. But other than that, you were handling it very well actually. I think one of the greater ends of the highlights would be when you had your little what was it? The
The
psychoanalyst?
one-on-one. Yeah, the one-on-one.
What was it called?
I didn't call it one-on-one.
Well, when you had your one-on-one, and you brought up the criminal versus the
The civil case.
Civil case.
Yeah.
that I think that was like really solid, and that helped get back on track. So
Mhm.
yeah, things like that was really good. Anything else? Alright, next one.
Did the above disposition seem to help the parties and contribute to the sense of effective dialogue? What otherwise the impact of like the dispositions, like how did it change the role thing? Like I feel like with me being too serious, I might have like affected the flow of like information. Like I feel like in comparison to the last one we did, I did a lot more like talking in this mediation, and I was like, interesting. I don't know if I'm supposed to be talking that much. So
During this mediation?
yeah.
No, I think it's a point where you want to get a tone, right, and then basically bring it back. The only times you would want the parties to talk to each other is when you say like, all right, now's the time to talk. But there were a lot of times where we just started like looking at each other and started going at it.
Yeah.
Without that, you know. So I think talking is good, but it's more about
Everyone
Yeah.
listening. We listen
Yeah,
and
listening, yeah.
you listen. Like
Yeah.
exactly, we listen and you listen. Yeah. That's all I had to say about that.
I don't really understand the question.
so pretty much how did our like behavior impact the scene, or did it help the scene?
I mean, yeah, I feel like it was on and off. Like there were times where it was like, it kind of escalated, like, and it needed to be handled, but then it was just like it was so back and forth.
Yeah,
it was just like
it was
hard.
yeah, it was like I was like, oh.
But it's not like, it's not
You
like,
try to jump in. Not ready yet. Not
but
ready
you
yet.
guys were like arguing in a way where you weren't like talking over each other. You guys were.
Yeah.
It seemed like the arguing was kind of
Helpful.
helpful.
I know there was one part though where they did start speaking over each other, and you were like, let's stop speaking over each other. So I thought.
And then we did it anyways.
Yeah.
I think we did. You were trying, and then you trying to jump in, and we're just like, yeah, here.
Yeah. And then
But
change the subject.
So did each mediator push for a solution? If yes, how did that pushing impact the parties?
I think it was actually beneficial for you guys to continuously say,
Yeah, I feel
we
like
need a resolution. We need a resolution.
I feel like it was pushed, but yeah, it wasn't like in a negative sense.
Yeah.
Like maybe a little in the beginning, like a resolution wasn't gonna like come like
Yeah.
Right off the
from
bat.
Yeah, but
Right.
like,
I mean, I want to make that
To
like.
get the idea.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what we're moving towards. Like.
Yeah. I think it was good overall that you pushed for a resolution.
I mean, that kind of was like at the beginning, but then there was also the time when we were like where we just want to move forward. Like when we got into that whole part with the two individual one-on-ones, we kind of were just like pushing moving forward rather than pushing resolution.
Oh, speaking of which, that was another really bright side because after the one-on-ones, because during the one-on-ones what we said was, you know what, let's just leave everything that has happened where it has happened. In other words, just leave it in the past.
Yeah.
And so going with that one-on-one to get into the conversation, he did say something I didn't like, but I was like, you know what, that's in the past. And I thought of that, like, not as in like as the student, here doing a role play, but I thought of it in the,
Yeah.
I was like, it's in the past.
Yeah, you can't really argue with that. Because
It is in the past.
Yeah.
physically.
So-
I saw your face, so you were like,
Yeah, you saw that, right?
What are you gonna say?
Yeah.
Is it happening now?
Yeah.
No, it's not.
Yeah. So it was kind of like sucking it up and
That's all the mediator needs to say.
it's in the
suck
past.
it up.
Forward.
Suck
And
it
then
up.
you can't even argue with that.
What?
You're here to move forward, so that's it. Like,
Yeah.
let me just
Done.
cut mediation
This is
times in
done.
half. Like,
Let's cut this mediation time in half. He's like, we're here for 3. I got a meeting in an hour.
But then you still have to pay me,
Yeah.
so let's argue
Yes.
for about 3 hours. And then I'm just gonna say that and you guys are gonna be fine with it.
That's funny.
okay, so in your observations, did we understand like the nuisances of your guys' parties?
What number is that?
Number
The
8.
nuisances,
I mean, because we kept saying I understand, but like, did it actually come across as like we understood?
I didn't take it that way.
Yeah, I feel like
Because
he
it was
a
so
lot more-
overused. That's how I felt. I was like,
Yeah.
there was a lot of understanding, but then,
I pulled that
to-
mediator shit on you.
yeah. So there was. It came to a point where there's so much understanding that there's no understanding. That's what it felt like. But there were times where you guys used a lot of rephrasing, and I was like, yeah. What the technique you were using quite a bit was a validation. It's when you're gonna make it go on a bet and say this is how he feels and I'm gonna call it out. And you did that a lot to me, and I was like, yeah, that's how I feel. Yeah, that's how I feel. She's on my side. That's what it made me feel like. But
Like I was being biased, maybe.
well, you weren't. But it made me feel that. In other words, it just made me feel better. So it was
you're
really good.
emotionally paradise.
Yeah. So, I don't know, the little nuances in that sense was really good. That's what I had to say.
I felt like I tried to understand that you didn't want to go to jail. Like,
No jail. No jail. I just love how you said, you want to eat drugs. No, turn it off. It was funny.
what specific tools did we use that worked? So refraining, all that. You already said.
Oh,
that
yeah, I
she
already
refrained
said
quite a bit.
So refraining, validation.
Yeah, refraining,
I
validation.
don't think we did any iMessages.
I-
I tried questions.
Yeah, definitely questions. You did too.
Our messages are.
I feel like
I also feel like eating noodles would lead to being fat.
But
When
because
yeah, exactly. But because there is high calorie count, stuff like that.
okay. So then, what tools do we use that needed like changing?
Tools you need changing. I understand.
But
Well, I don't know.
understand the
I
same
don't know about
thing.
changing or just.
Do they need attention or like?
Need attention
or changing?
That would be to not abuse that too much.
So the validation. Or no, I was trying to do like, I tried to validate several times, but I feel like that was like when I was like I understand. That was like when it became repetitive. Like, I could have just been like, so you're upset because like.
Right. So what you mean to say? No, I don't mean to say that. That's.
I thought we were saying that a lot too.
Well,
It seems as if you are
See what he was
hurt.
Yeah, like make it natural. How do you like? How do you? There's only so many ways you can state that. Like,
Yeah.
There was one point where you said, so you wanna explain how you feel disrespected by him being disrespectful or something like that. And I was like, this is a mediator? That you know, I was like, real? I don't know, I felt like in real time, if I was talking to someone that asked me a question like that, I would think they're either A, they're fucking with me. Yeah, either A, they're fucking with me, B, they're stupid, or anything, something else that's negative.
They're not really listening.
Yeah, and I'm just like, that's not real. You know, so.
What was the statement again?
Which one?
The respect you one.
Oh, so you feel disrespected
I feel
because
like-
he's disrespectful.
You'll have to rewatch the video.
You have to rewatch the
See if
video,
I actually
or
say that.
something like that. And I repeated it too, so I was like, really? It's really just
Bernard's like, on camera.
Now.
oh,
Your mom's calling you?
just
I don't know who it is.
Oh. Who's it your mom's calling?
talk about you.
It's cool. We finished the debriefing.